This is the 2024 GMC Acadia Elevation. Is this the best bang for the buck trim level? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this fully redesigned Acadia from my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, maybe come in and buy this model, check out the link down in the description of the video. Tell whoever you talk to that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you their way. And if you're curious about size differences from 2023 to 2024, the overall length increases by 10.6 inches and the height increases by 3.2 inches. And you'll notice some very strong changes to the overall design here. A little more squared off, and we have a different design with the overall front end, really the whole exterior of the vehicle, but it still looks like an Acadia, at least in my eyes. Now you can see some of the LED lighting elements here with the daytime running lights. That's why you have that shimmering effect. My camera picks it up that way. That's not really happening. Your headlights, you got your fog lights down here. And there is a combination of some chrome on the vehicle and a little bit of gloss black. Now keep in mind, this is by no means the highest trim level. You're still going to have the forward-facing camera available if you want that. A lot of cameras on and around this vehicle. It is front-wheel drive, but as has been the case for many years now, all-wheel drive is available. Let's talk about the tire and wheel size as far as this model goes. We're looking at 255 on our width, a 55 series sidewall, and wrapped around 20-inch wheels in this case. You do have a spare tire that will be mounted on an 18-inch wheel in case you were curious. And your turn signal indicators built in to the power adjustable side view mirrors that are also going to have the blind spot monitoring built in. They're also heated. That's always a good thing. Here is the remote for 2024. You can see what all is there. You have remote start, lock, unlock. And there's a few different ways. One very interesting way I'm going to show you how to open that power tailgate, including the remote right here. And there is your panic button. And again, nothing new here, but it's just nice to know that it's here. Passive entry on the front door handles and the rear door handles. That's a good thing. The exterior color on this model is Summit White. It has a Coratec Gideon Gray interior, as you can see. So for those of you who maybe don't like a jet black interior, one solid color, well, there you go. A nice option where that is concerned. The roof rails are up top. You can get your crossbars and increase your capability to haul different things around. We'll also have the rear roof spoiler that not only looks nice, it just wouldn't look the same back here without this here, but it also channels air over your rear window to help keep that clean when you're driving down the road. But not only for the purpose of keeping it clean, but also when it rains, you have your rear window wiper right here. And you can see a little bit of a similar design element with these tail lights back here compared to what we saw with the headlight design as far as the front end goes. Similar look, maybe not identical, but it does have some similarities. I do like the fact that back here, instead of having either no exhaust outlets exposed or just exhaust on one side, we have quad tip exhaust that really balances things out back here quite nicely. Under the hood is the singular engine offering as of 2024. It is an inline 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Try it out before you knock it. See what you think. It will be interesting to see how this works long term. Maybe there still should be a 6-cylinder offered. We'll see how that goes over time. It makes 328 horsepower and 326 pounds-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Let's take a look at the MPGs. We're looking at 20 city, 27 highway, 23 combined, and 4.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And one thing I like to do is give the gas tank size. It does have capless fuel fill, and when you fill up, you have a potential of 21.7 gallons. And here's something interesting. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds. That's not what's interesting, but I'm just gonna come over here and just stand here. You hear all those beeps, and notice I didn't touch anything or do anything, and the tailgate opens. So a very interesting feature, if you walk up and your hands are full and you don't have any way, you don't want to put anything down, you don't have the ability to actually open this with one of the features where you push a button basically, well, that's something you can do. Now you can turn that feature on and off just as you would expect, but here's something interesting. If you walk past the vehicle and it starts to beep like that, and you just walk past, it won't actually go ahead and open. Kind of a nice little fail-safe built in. You have to stand there and you'll hear a number of beeps, and then it starts to open, the tailgate starts to open, and there you go. So I like the fact that if you accidentally are walking, maybe you're walking to the driver's seat or something like that, to the driver's door, and the door beeps, but you keep moving, it's not gonna open. Now let's see if I can get it to do it for me. I'm just gonna walk past here, I'm gonna keep walking. You heard the beeps, and it didn't open. So there's the proof that what I'm telling you is actually true. And you've got the towing numbers. How about your cargo capacity? 23 cubic feet up to as much as 97.5 cubic feet. Not a whole lot else to talk about back here on this trim level, but you do have a 12-volt power outlet, have some tie downs, and obviously you can maximize your cargo capacity by lowering the seats. Pretty easy to deal with. We're gonna reach in here and grab that release, pull that back. We're gonna put the headrest back in place. That's how easy that is to do. Everything is done manually, however, on this particular trim level. And let's take a little bit more in-depth look into the interior, other than just telling you the color. A nice, comfortable, and large armrest. I always like seeing an armrest that is completely flat. Could use the windowsill as an armrest as well, but that's not quite as comfortable as it is down here, but that's okay. A little bit of silver trim, as you can see, and a nice sized door bin, plenty of room. Now, one thing I always like to show, well, a couple of things. Number one, you do have the grab handles right here. That's good on each side. While the Acadia is not very high off the ground, it is nice to see that it's very easy to get in and out of. The seats do move back and forth, so third row passengers can have increased leg space, as you can see. The left side over there is all the way back. The right side or passenger side over here is, or excuse me, all the way back over here and all the way forward over there. Let's get that right. And there is a release right underneath right here that you can use to move those back and forth. To get the seats up and out of the way, we just pull up on that release, and there you go. The seats are out of the way now, and makes it very easy to gain access to the third row. And what's in the rear seating area? Number one, this is as far back as these seats go. They don't recline, so have to think about what that means in your decision-making process of buying an Acadia. We do have our cup holder right here, a little bit of space behind that, and a USB option. And let me just show you the differences. Now, this is gonna be all the way back. That is way too far back for me. I would be very uncomfortable, I think, unless it was a really short trip. Now, we'll move over here to the driver's or left-hand side. If I can get over here, a lot more space. I don't know how realistic that is, that a middle row passenger would have the seat this far forward, but that's what we have. So a little bit of an increase, a couple of different options where that's concerned, and I could stretch my leg out right there with the pass-through, although it would probably be kind of strange for the middle row passengers to have my foot right there. But something I have to give GMC high marks on, this is nothing new for GMC, but I always like seeing the roof-mounted vents, air conditioning vents. It just makes it so much easier, as opposed to, say, the Honda Pilot that has the air conditioning vents down here for third row passengers. That's just too long of a way, in my opinion, for the air to travel. This way, it doesn't have as far to travel, so the temperature isn't going to change much, if at all. And as far as what your middle row passengers are going to find, a couple of cup holders here, the command center for the third zone of climate control back here, as you can see. And we also have a power outlet and a couple of 12-volt outlets. And the same thing as far as the air conditioning vents go. Those do seem to be a little further away than what we had in the back seats. But then again, you can always have your passengers, if they complain, move the seats up and they could be closer. Now let's see, one thing I'm curious about. The armrests are a little bit longer than what I've seen in some vehicles. I wish they went as high as, basically were as tall as the seat right here. That way, when they're in the down position, and there is only one position, it would also be nice to see some kind of adjustability built in there. But my wrist kind of hangs off a little bit, so I don't know. I don't know how I would like that, but you know what? Most likely, that's where I would be sitting. And how about the sticker price? $44,270, at least at Mike Morgan Buick GMC. And you can see here on the door that we have a larger door bin on the front doors, definitely a lot larger than what we had on the rear. Technically, you could use this as a couple of things, but that is meant to be a bottle holder right there. You can open and close the power tailgate here. You know what else is right here. Door locks, control your windows, all that stuff. Here is where your power parking brake is located. You can turn the auto stop start feature on and off right there, depending on what you want to do with that, and your drive mode selector. Let's hop inside. In fact, before we look at that, I do want to show you the pass-through right there that goes underneath the center console. I like the use of the space where that is concerned. I think we're getting inside just in time as a train is coming. Now let's talk about driving modes. What do we have? Well, there's snow and ice, sport, nice graphics that accompany each mode, and normal. As far as the seats go, they are power adjustable for the driver and the passenger with lumbar support, here in the front seats at least. A nice large glove box and a nice modern look with the instrument cluster. That's always nice to see. I like that. And right here, we're going to have the controls for our front and rear window wipers, as well as those turn signal indicators that I think some drivers think have a warning label that says that the Surgeon General says they could be hazardous to your health. That's not true. It doesn't have those. Or that, I should say. Here is your shifter. I can't really say anything funny or sarcastic about the shifter. Well, at least I don't think I can. There's how you go into neutral. Just pull it back and hold it. Push it into the up position. We go into reverse. And then we push it back, pull it back, and push it down to go into drive. Go into park right here. Now, one of the biggest changes that I think is a very positive change for 2024 is the addition of this standard across all trim levels 15-inch infotainment screen. And boy, is it nice and easy to use. So you're gonna have quite a bit, including Google Assistant. So you can say, hey, I fooled a few of you there, didn't I? You thought I was going to set off Google in your house, didn't you? I'm nicer than that. But let's see what we have here. You can obviously pair your phone wirelessly, and you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And you do have a multitude of camera views available here, including your overhead 360-degree view, your front and rear cameras. I showed you that front camera earlier. There's additional overhead views, your side view mirror cameras right here. There's a lot going on. And if you need to hitch up to a trailer, there's where you do that. Super easy to deal with, super easy to use. There is a lot going on here. Google Maps, Wi-Fi hotspot. You can even go into climate right here if you want to. I say you can. Let's see if Tom can make that happen. There we go. Just my inexperience on that, I guess. But you can see what's there. I do like the graphics. I think that looks very nice. Then we can go home again. Let's go into settings. There we go. And you can see what all is here. Nothing unusual, just a different look as far as what we have compared to some of the other GMC vehicles we've looked at in the past. You do have teen driver mode, rear seat reminder, buckle to drive. You can turn that on and off if you want to. There's a lot going on here. Something that I know a lot of people like to know about. How about your safety features? Well, you have automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, adaptive cruise go notifier, and you can turn that on and off. Your side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, park assist with braking, and rear cross traffic alert, as well as rear pedestrian alert. Yeah, I guess I didn't have to read all of that to you because most of you probably saw everything on the screen, but we're going to just hold on and show you what's there, tell you what's there. It's really a pretty simple system to use. And here is the knob for the radio. So we can turn that on and off that way, pretty easy to deal with. But here's something interesting. Let's go right here, and you can see all I did was touch the screen right there. And what do you have? Your dome light. And I'm going to let you just see everything that's here. I'm not going to tell you everything about it, but here's how you turn traction control on and off, park assist right there, your front fog lights as well. And then next to that, you can turn everything off. You can turn it to auto. See if that'll stay on the screen long enough. You can turn on your fog lights and your headlights if you want to. Let's see here. Come on. Stay on the screen long enough for me to show a demonstration here. We'll leave that on auto since that's where that was set. And the air conditioning is actually controlled via these controls right here. So you don't have to worry about using the screen for that, although you do use that to turn on and off your heated seats, all that kind of stuff. You can sync everything together if you want to. And there's that right there, that option. You can see what I did. That brings everything up to go into climate control. But like I said, you can control the temperature right here if you want to, as well as the fan speed. Pretty easy to deal with where that's concerned. I don't want to turn that up too high. You'll also find a couple more USB options right there, a little bit of storage space, and yes, a wireless charging pad. We'll also find the cup holders in a very large and high center console. I like that because it's in a good place to use as an armrest. And within, don't worry, that's not all the space we have. That tray is actually removable, and you can see that there is a lot of space down there in case you need to use that. Now, let's go up here to the upper console. There is your sunglass holder, or whatever kind of glasses I guess you want to put in there, or anything else. And I don't know how well the camera's picking things up, but I'm going to show you what is here on the upper console. Pretty simplistic, but you can see what is there. I really like what GMC has done here. I have to say one of my favorite changes has to be the screen. Tell me what your favorite change is. Maybe you have more than one. Okay, here we go on our test drive, and I'll stay in my lane. Everybody takes that turn really sharp. Let's listen. I don't know how well you could hear the sound as I drove over those railroad tracks, but I can tell you that, yeah, there was a little bit of road noise, but the ride quality is really good. This is a very enjoyable vehicle to drive, and you might wonder about the engine. It seems to be good to me. One thing I've noticed in all the years of driving vehicles and talking about them and experiencing what they're like to deal with, sometimes you can really tell how healthy an engine will remain under some stress when you have to drive faster for a longer period of time. I don't get the impression personally that this engine is going to have issues. Now, that's just what I'm saying. I've driven other vehicles. I'm not going to name anything that had 6-cylinder engines in them that were turbocharged, and I could tell when I stepped on the pedal that if you did that too much, it's probably going to have some issues. It just didn't seem like it was capable of handling that kind of thing as well. I don't really get that impression here, but then again, I'm just driving for a very short period of time as far as this model goes. Overall, the ride quality is good. I think that you'll find that it's very comfortable here. The interior itself is very spacious, so very nice. It's very adjustable. One thing I didn't talk about earlier in the video, and we're talking about adjustability and being comfortable in the interior, is that you do have a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. So one thing I didn't mention earlier in the video, you also have the shifter paddles on there. I didn't talk about that, as well as nothing unusual for GMC. But on the right-hand side of the back of the steering wheel, you can control the volume of the radio, and on the left-hand side, you can control what you're listening to, whether it's off of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on your phone, or if you are listening to the radio and you need to adjust the station. So a lot of nice features there where you don't necessarily have to take your hands off of the wheel when you're driving down the road, as I am right now. And it is pretty easy to see out of. As far as just the way things are right now, if I had enough people in the vehicle, well, that might make a little bit of a difference depending on how tall they were. But overall, it's very enjoyable to drive and very versatile, I'd say, because you do have the ability for plenty of cargo capacity back there. You can adjust things down, whether you just lower the third row or you lower the second and the third row. There's a lot there. The gas pedal and the brake pedal seem to be very manageable, and once you get past it seemed like just a little bit of turbo lag when I pulled out onto the highway earlier before I turned the camera on. But once I got through that, which seemed to be somewhat quickly, then it seemed that I wasn't really having any trouble getting up to speed. So kind of right here, we didn't really have any issues there, and I'm just easing into the pedal just a little bit, got up to the speed limit very quickly, but then again, I was already moving. One thing about the test drives on these vehicles I like to tell people is I can give you my feedback, but you really need to drive these vehicles for yourself so you can draw your own conclusions based on your personal experience and your personal expectations. And those are the high points of the 2024 GMC Acadia Elevation. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level? Tell me what your thoughts are. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Acadia for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.